Hi, and welcome to the RCN Rocket Chief. This week, more with our homemade cluster-powered rockets, the Star Cluster with 2 mini engines. Got some pretty spectacular video to share, and we'll talk about how you insert the igniters and launch a mini cluster. Thanks for watching. We've simulated the 2 igniters that we would need in our Star Cluster with these 2 LED lights, and of course we can engage the system to show that when they're lined up in series with the power coming in, out, and then onto the second igniter and back, everything seems in theory that it will be fine. However, if either one of these igniters goes even just a fraction of a second before the other one does, which is certainly likely, then the power would be cut off and the second igniter is never going to fire. So what we need to do is wire them up in parallel. With the igniters hooked up in parallel, we see that the power will go in to this igniter through and then back out to the positive, or to the out system, if you will. And the other igniter is set up to the same leads, and it has a complete path of its own. When we engage the system, both igniters ignite. Now, the difference, of course, is if this igniter were to fire even just a fraction of a second first, as we have simulated here, there is still power going to this igniter for the fraction of a second that may be required for the second one to ignite, and you'll get a good clean ignition. Let's see if we can see that in the videos that are coming up.
One launch.
Nice flight. Straight up, a little bit of spinning, chute coming out. Didn't quite deploy correctly. It's a bit of a drogue. That's fine. Probably a little too chilly for it, even though I did coat it in talcum powder. Great flight.
So let's see what we can learn from looking at this from our pad. Here we can start to see that the igniters are smoking, maybe a little more from the one closest to the camera. The igniters are obviously continuing to ignite here, and then we're going to get an ignition of the engine closest to the camera, and then that fraction of a second later, the one farthest on, and now we get a liftoff, demonstrating that both igniters do not fire at exactly the same time.
1, 2, 1, launch.
So what you do is you put your igniters in like you normally would as for individual engines, and then as we said, we have to make sure that they're in parallel so that the power comes in and out for each engine separately. So we take basically a lead that's on the same side, and you twist them together. So you'll note that the power would go in and out on this side for this one, and you're going to have to trust me a little bit, but it's in underneath here and then back out for that one, so that we end up with being able to set up our ignition system. Make sure I got the right set of clips here. Here we go. So that when we engage it, we get power through both igniters at the same time. And we do have an armed light, and we should, as we've seen, be ready to go. Please like and subscribe so that maybe I can get some ad revenue out of YouTube, and eventually I'll be able to launch full-sized clusters. Thanks a lot.